People, one of the most powerful things in the history of mankind is the attention of a human being. The greatest scientific discoveries of all time, the greatest inventions of all time have come into existence because someone, somewhere, managed to pay a little bit more importance to the intricacies of the world that the world considered to be insignificant. The reason why stand-up comedians are able to give us such a wonderful time is because they manage to pay attention to those little intricacies of our life that we never really pay attention to. And most importantly, the reason you are able to listen to me right now is because while the world was busy in its hustle and bustle, one man was paying very close attention to this world and decided to challenge the status quo, to think different and to change the world forever. So the question lies, while on one side there are these people who have managed to master this art of attention, on the other side there are people like you and me who cannot even read a book for an hour without actually getting distracted. The question is, how do we exactly master this art of attention? Now people, I am no genius in this, I am no expert in this, but I began to read a little bit about attention, and about a week back I read this article which completely changed my perspective about distraction in the first place. This article was written by a monk, and the first line said, "Distraction is like a parasite to the mind. If you don't kill distraction, distraction will kill your dreams." If you look at an apple tree, guys, an apple tree takes about 6 years to actually start giving you fruits. And when it starts giving you fruits, it's got lush green leaves, beautiful fruits, and a very, very strong trunk. But soon enough, as the weather conditions keep changing, there are a few parasites which begin to pop up on the trunk of the apple tree and sometimes in the branches of the apple tree. Now, if you look at the size of the parasite, it looks very, very insignificant. But if you don't kill that parasite, soon enough, the entire tree is going to rot because the parasite is going to suck all of its nutrients. Distraction to our mind is just like the parasite to a healthy apple tree. With all this humongous potential in our mind, if we let the parasite of distraction grow into our mind, we will never be able to utilize our mind to its full potential. Eventually, it is going to end up killing not us, but our dreams. And if you only understand the depth of this story very well, you will begin to take distraction very, very seriously. So I'm just going to give you a few takeaways by which I just hope that you'll be able to pay much more attention to what you're doing right now and what is important without actually getting distracted, eventually utilizing the potential of your mind a little bit more. So here's the thing that you're supposed to know. People, every time you pick up something to work on and every time you're reading a book, you need to understand that your brain is actually forming possibly a billion neurological connections eventually to help you understand the information properly, to turn that information into knowledge and to turn that knowledge into wisdom so that it can help you enhance your life. And when this process is actually happening, your brain is actually exercising a superpower that no other species possesses, eventually taking up a lot of energy to process every single bit of the information that you're consuming. But you know what? Because this is never really told to us, we take it for granted. And that's the reason why this superpower that you've been practicing never really gets utilized to its fullest, eventually to never get utilized at all because we never focus. So the question is, what exactly is the root cause of this problem and how exactly are we supposed to tackle it? The first thing that I want you to know is actually understand how does the technology around you work in the first place. People, companies spend $1 billion to make sure that they make Instagram a part of your lifestyle. It's not a coincidence that you open up Instagram every time that you're bored. It's not a coincidence that when you're at a restaurant and everybody's talking, when you feel out of the conversation, you open up Instagram. It's not a coincidence, but a strategic move which has been planned by some of the best behavioral scientists in the world. And it's not a bad thing because that's how business is done. But it becomes a bad thing once it begins to intrude into your life so much that it becomes a hurdle for your progress. And the one who's supposed to act on it is not Instagram, but you. So here's a very simple 3-step procedure by which I have been able to focus on my work, and I just hope it helps you focus on your work too. The first thing that you're supposed to do is segregate all the applications in your phone into 3 categories. The first category, you can call it important, the second category is not so important, and the third category is not at all important. Now in my not at all important category, I have Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon and Flipkart. And the first thing that you're supposed to do after you find out all of these not at all important applications is to turn off their notifications. Now the question is, what happens with Zomato? Zomato is not like Instagram, then why should you switch off the notification? Well, you have to switch off the notification because when you're working on something very, very important, you will get a Zomato notification. You will open up the Zomato application and then you will understand that your friend just called you and told you that Dhoni just retired. Oh my God, Dhoni just retired. So you begin to see Instagram posts about Dhoni and then you begin to see YouTube videos on 3 best Dhoni moments eventually to enter into a Sushant Singh Rajput video because Dhoni is related to Sushant Singh Rajput, and God knows within 5 minutes you're watching this.
दोस्तों, भाई और बहनों, नमस्कार। मैं हूं अर्नब गोस्वामी और आप देख रहे हैं मेरे साथ पूछता है भारत.
And that's the reason why you have to turn off the notifications of Zomato and all other applications which will give you an excuse to pick up your phone. The second category is not so important, and here's where you have to turn off the notifications of all the groups that you have on WhatsApp wherein you have good morning and good evening messages. Why? Because the good morning, good evening messages are not dangerous. They just give you an excuse to pick up the phone, and soon enough you'll get a message from your friend. You'll see a WhatsApp story which says Dhoni just retired. You will go to YouTube, watch Dhoni's YouTube video. Soon enough you'll be watching Sushant Singh Rajput, and soon enough you'll be watching this.
MS बिट्टा जी, चौधरी गुज्जर, जो भी आपका नाम है, वैसे आपका नाम इफ्तिकार चौधरी, इंजीनियर इफ्तिकार चौधरी. कौन इंजीनियर क्या है? तुम इंजीनियरिंग पास किए क्या डिग्री? कौन लिखता है इंजीनियर?
And that's the reason why you're supposed to turn off the notifications for all the insignificant groups that you are a part of. Now people, I want to leave this completely up to you and your maturity to decide which of those applications and which of those notifications in those applications are a priority in your life, because everybody has different priorities. This is the first step to actually increasing your focus and decreasing your distraction to help you put in much more work and to utilize the potential of your mind. And every time you feel the reluctance to turn off the notifications in your phone, always tell yourself one thing. If you don't kill distraction, distraction will kill your dreams. And I'm 100% sure that you'll have more persistence to turn off the notifications to improvise your life. And this is what reminds me of what Ray Kroc once said when he was asked what exactly was his secret to building a $700 million food chain empire at the age of 52. And he responded by saying, one word: persistence. Nothing in this world can take the place of good old persistence. Talent won't, because he says nothing's more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't, because he says unrecognized genius is practically a cliche. And lastly, education won't, because he says the world is full of educated fools. Persistence and determination alone are all powerful. And at the end of the day, people, the question is all about one thing. Do you have the persistence to kill your distraction, or are you going to let it kill your dreams?